Good morning, class. Once again, I am before you with a topic on human digestion. Okay, in the last class we talked about the definition of digestive system and we did the introduction to human digestive system. Now, today we are going to talk about the first part of human digestive system, that is this number one, that is the buccal cavity. I hope you had made a note of that, and today we'll start with buccal cavity. Okay, so students, see, this portion of ours is known as buccal cavity. The word cavity basically means a gap, a space is called a cavity. Cavity means a space, and this space is of buccal, so that has been named as buccal cavity. Yesterday also I told you, and today once again I am going to tell you, this buccal cavity is defined as the space. Buccal cavity is defined as the space which is bounded by our cheeks and two jaws. The right cheek, left cheek, lower jaw and upper jaw. So these are the two cheeks. This is the upper jaw and this is the lower jaw. In both jaws, if you see, this lower jaw is movable in nature and the upper jaw is non-movable in nature. You cannot move your upper jaws, but you can move your lower jaws. This movability of the lower jaw facilitates chewing, talking, etc. and such functions of our human body. Okay, now since we have defined our buccal cavity, now let us go inside and see what are components of our human buccal cavity. So the first component of human buccal cavity is the outer tooth. Okay, then tongue, then salivary gland. These are three important components of human buccal cavity. So first we'll talk about tooth. Tooth, you can see, are arranged on both the jaws. The tooth have been arranged on the lower jaw and the upper jaw. In an adult grown-up human, the tooth count from 28 to 32. And here, while talking about tooth, two new terms come into existence. First is theodont and the other is heterodonts. Please take care of these two words. There are two words which come into existence while talking about human tooth: theodont and heterodonts. So heterodonts are those organisms, please listen to this very carefully. Heterodonts are those organisms which have more than one type of teeth. Okay, so which have more than one type of teeth. So humans have 4 types of teeth and hence they are known as heterodonts. H-E-T-E-R-O, hetero, D-O-N-T-S, heterodonts. Because humans have more than one type of teeth and humans have 4 types of teeth: A, B, C and D. And these 4 teeth have their own peculiar feature or function. So the first type of teeth are incisors. These 4 teeth are called the incisors. The pointed teeth at the edges are called the canines. Then comes premolars and then the molars. Incisors which have been designed so as to cut the food, such as while you are eating an apple. You never eat an apple from the side, but you try to cut an apple from the front end of your mouth. Then canine for tearing, such as in case of flesh, when you are eating flesh. Then comes premolars and molars. Premolars and molars are designed somewhat in a different way. Premolars and molars have this type of surface and grooved one, so as that they can grind the food and convert it into a paste form. First of all, the food is cut or teared by these two types of teeth, incisors or the canines. Then this food is sent backwards and grinded and crushed by the premolars and the molars. And because, once again I am telling you, and because we have 4 types of teeth, we are called heterodonts. Not only we, any organism which has more than one type of teeth is called a heterodont. And now comes the word theodont. Theodont are those organisms who have got their teeth fixed in some bony sockets. I'll write this: teeth fixed in bony sockets. Sockets are specially designed structures in which our teeth has been fixed. In the jaws, if we dissect the muscular region, we can see our teeth has been placed in a particular perfect structure, and hence we are called theodonts. And since we have more than one type of teeth, we are called the heterodonts. We have 4 types of teeth: incisors, canines, premolars, molars, each having function to cut, tear, grind and crush the food. Now moving to a second organ of interest, that is the tongue. The tongue is a muscular structure present on our is a muscular structure present in our buccal cavity, which can move to and fro or sidewise. Basically, if we see the structure of tongue, it is muscular structure, and the upper region of the tongue is densely lined by taste buds. It is densely lined by taste buds. These taste buds have function to taste the food, that the food is sweet, sour, bitter or whatever it is. In books, you must have seen the diagram of tongue and a region marked with sweet, sour, bitter, salty, etc. But it is not so that only that region is going to sense the sweetness. Actually, if you put sugar on any part of the tongue, the sweetness is sensed by the tongue. This is because those books which mark the region of these taste buds are actually talking about the density of taste buds. The density of that taste bud is higher in that particular region, but these taste buds are present all over the tongue. Okay, then the second function of our tongue is to mix the food. The second function is to mix the food. As the food goes inside the mouth, the tongue starts to move to and fro and sidewise. By this process, it enables to place the food below the teeth. This also places the food below the teeth. Below the teeth, basically below premolars and molars, so that they can be grinded and crushed successfully in a better way. Then the third component of our buccal cavity are the salivary glands. Salivary glands are specific glands which secrete a juice called salivary juice. These secrete a specific juice which is a liquid substance which is called the salivary juice, which is composed of salts, water, a few ions and a perfect enzyme called ptyalin. Remember, P is silent in this word, though it is, the spelling starts with P, but it is pronounced as T. The enzyme is named as ptyalin. This enzyme functions to break carbohydrate present in the food to simpler form, that is monosaccharide. Now come back to the topic of digestion, when we define digestion as breaking down of complex food material into simpler and absorbable form. So this is a complex food material which has been broken down into simpler and absorbable part. This salivary juice also functions to moisten the food and also acts to make the food slippery in nature. Okay, so now we have got the functions of all these three components, and now at the last what we are going to do is to combine it, the functions of all, and see as one unit. Okay, so now assume that the food has been taken in. Suppose you are eating your daily diet. Now you have taken in the food first gets in touch with the incisors, canines, premolars, molars. So if it is of sort of nature of, suppose, potato or apple, so it would be first cut by the incisors. If it is meat, it would be teared down. If it is rice or pulses, it will directly go under molars and premolars. You cannot cut the rice grain by grain, so it will go directly under premolars and molars. At the same time, as you crunch your mouth, your buccal cavity, the tongue will start to move, and this salivary gland will start to produce the saliva. The saliva will be produced directly into your buccal cavity, and this tongue will start to move to and fro. Because of this movement, it will start to mix the food, because it is moving this way. So it will start to mix the food with this salivary juice and enzymes. It will start to mix the food with salivary juice and enzyme. And the better will be the mixture, the more will be the ability of this enzyme to convert carbohydrate into monosaccharide. Since this is the property of enzymes to act over larger surface area. Higher the surface area, more is the activity of enzyme, and hence to increase the surface area, these premolars and molars are continuously engaged in crushing and grinding of the food so as to make it a paste. Because after being converted into paste, it will give a larger surface area for enzymes to act upon. and at the same time the tongue is involved in mixing of the food. So this enzyme now gets higher surface area plus mixing. This enzyme is now getting higher surface area and mixing. This enables it to act as a efficient unit, and hence at the same time I would like to take you to this point. This salivary juice, after getting mixed with the food, has moistened the food. It has become moist and has also helped to make it slippery. Because after being made slippery, it will be easy for the food to be swallowed down through the esophagus and reach the stomach. This was all about our buccal cavity. I'll repeat it once again. 4 types of teeth: tongue, taste buds, function of the tongue, salivary gland composed of salt ions, water and enzyme. The enzyme is styrene, which converts carbohydrates into monosaccharides. The teeth function to increase the surface area of the food. The tongue facilitates mixing, and then the enzyme converts carbohydrate into monosaccharides. This is the functioning and overall processes that take place in our buccal cavity. The buccal cavity may seem to be very simple, but it's much complicated. See you tomorrow with new topic, and we will be covering the esophagus and the stomach in our lecture. Okay, thank you.